Hey, it's Ellie. Welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. So today I decided to build a little brick house that ended up being not so little, and it just, for some reason this build took me so long. This was like an 8-hour build, and that's just ridiculous. Also, I cut out an entire hour that I was just like working on it, but I wasn't really working on it. It's an hour I took to decorate the kitchen with all the clutter items and the sink that I forgot to put in the first time. But yeah, that was like a separate, I did that on a separate day, that 1 hour segment. So I decided to cut that out because I knew it was going to be a long build anyway, and you didn't need to see that part of the build, that little cluttering. So yeah, still it was 8 hours even without that. And I did pause a few times, but I think I cut them out for the most part. There's still a few in there that I didn't bother cutting out, to be honest. But yeah, this build, I don't know why it took me so long, to be honest. It's not a huge house. Normally when they take me so long, it's a pretty big build, but this build was pretty standard size, I would say. It's not small, but it's not big. I think it's just an average size house. There are 3 bedrooms. There's actually 4 rooms upstairs, but I made a playroom for the children, which I thought was kind of, I don't know, I never do that usually. But I always like the idea of like a playroom, like in a conjoined room from both of the kids' bedrooms, and they can go in there with all their toys, and then they can keep their own things in their room. You know, like kids like to share toys a lot, but they don't like to share the rest of their things. I mean, depends on the toy, obviously. Your like older sibling isn't gonna want to share their iPod with you or whatever. iPods aren't really a thing anymore, are they, actually? I'm getting too old. I used to have an iPod. I still have an iPod. I still listen to my iPod. Is that weird? Probably. It's like it barely has a camera in it. That's how old it is. It's not an iPod Touch. It's like one of those really old school ones with the tiny screen and just the play, pause, skip buttons. That's all. And this one happened to have a camera. That was like a crazy thing when I got it, that it had a camera. I don't think I ever used it, but it could play movies on that tiny, incredibly tiny screen, and I watched movies on it in bed when I was supposed to be sleeping. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, there's a playroom in this house. That was a long tangent to explain why I made a playroom. And so I put some toys in there. It wasn't actually as big as I kind of wanted it. I think I should have put a single frame door. I put a double, well, it's not a door, but I put a double wide archway in from each bedroom. I think maybe I should have done a single wide archway, because that would have made things a little bit easier to put like toys in and stuff. But you know what? For the most part, it's fine. There's plenty of toys in the house for them, and I think they will enjoy the playroom. The one thing about The Sims 2 especially is that they don't distinguish like, oh, this is my room, this is your room. They just go in whatever room and they get their things, and like, I can't lock the doors of my children's rooms because there's always a freaking monster under the bed, and your parent has to spray the monster with like what I assume is just a water bottle, and then it takes like an hour for your kid to be able to sleep in the bed again. One of the most annoying things in The Sims 4, to be honest, but that's not what I'm talking about right now. But that's the reason why I can't lock the children's doors, because things like that happen and the parents need to go in the children's rooms. Otherwise, I would just like lock for everybody but the person whose room that is. That usually works for my older Sims who don't need any assistance doing anything. But with the children, you can't do that. So a lot of the times they go in each other's rooms and use each other's toys and stuff. Like when I had, in my legacy challenge, when I had a child son and a toddler daughter, the son would all the time go into the toddler's room and play dolls while she was asleep in her princess castle. He had his own dollhouse in his room. They had everything each in their own room, but they still go into whatever room they want to use the things. I guess whichever's closest is probably what it is, but you know, that's just, it annoys me. Stay in your own room, darn it. So the playroom will work really well because that just eliminates that entire issue altogether. The toys are all in one room and they can each get to them from their own room, so yeah, it's totally fine. The one thing though, I think there's a bookshelf in one of the children's rooms, and potentially the other Sims of the house will walk into her room a lot and grab a book, which I also find very annoying because there's bookshelves somewhere else. There's some downstairs, there's 2 downstairs. I haven't built them yet actually, but yeah, that might happen also. But I think maybe each child also has one toy in their room. Yeah, I think one of the childs has one of the stuffed bears that you can talk to, and then the other one has like the doctor toy. It's like a play doctor set, I guess. That's what I assume anyway. So yeah. Other than that, your kids should have their rooms all worked out, privacy in their rooms and the shared playroom. Anyway, I'm doing the kitchen right now. So I actually haven't built anything in the house yet, and I've just been rambling on. This is a really long build, by the way, my speed build. I know I said it was 8 hours of building, but the actual speed build was like 30 minutes. It was more than 30 minutes when I sped it up to what I usually speed it up to. So I hope it's not too fast, and it's really long. I guess those are the 2 points I'm trying to make here. Anyway, back to the kitchen. And for this whole house, actually, I wanted to go with a pretty modernish style. I feel like these brick homes, the kind that I built anyway, there's like a townhouse kind of brick home that feels much older, but these brick homes I tend to think of as newer. They just seem a newer construction. So I feel like anyway, in most of these kinds of houses, the furniture and the decor is more modern. Like, I picked the wallpaper that has the white trim around it, because that always seems very new to me. The wood, like anything that has the wood trim, that always feels very old, I guess. It just seems like it's not common to have like the old white trim in a house that's very old. Most of the time you just have the old wooden trim, and it's like all aged and stuff. Personally, I like it better like that with the old wood trim, but didn't really fit in this house, so I did the white, and I carried that through the entire house, at least the downstairs, and then one of the bedrooms upstairs, the master bedroom. But I did change the color. I did some interesting colors, I think. I mean, they're not crazy interesting, but I pretty much never do a yellow kitchen. I can't remember a time I ever built a yellow kitchen before, but I think it looks cute. It looks modern, but very bright and just happy, I guess. That's probably the wrong word. I'm probably sounding like a lunatic because I haven't slept in like days. But, you know, it's fine. So, the kitchen is happy. It's yellow. Everything is working out. It actually took me a really long time to figure out how I wanted to lay out the kitchen, because I wanted to put the dining room table in there. but I didn't want it to be too cramped like it always seems. Also, I wanted the island still because I love islands and kitchens. Like, I think I always build an island. I'm sorry if that seems very repetitive, but kitchen islands are just, they're just the best. They're the best kind of thing. They're the best if you have a big kitchen, I should say. Because I actually considered getting a kitchen island in my house, my own house, my real house, but I decided not to because I have two big dogs and our kitchen, it's pretty big. I would say it's bigger than most kitchens. It's more square than most kitchens, so it's a lot more open than a more rectangular kitchen. But anyway, I just felt like the kitchen island would take up a little too much space in my kitchen, and it would make it hard to walk around with like the dogs and everything. I felt like I would prefer the table, just a kitchen table, like a dining room table, I mean. Wow, I'm seriously not making sense in this build. I wanted the dining room table to be against the wall in my kitchen because I felt like that would give more space through the middle of it and not make everything so cramped to walk through. Because that's my biggest pet peeve, honestly, walking through a house with dogs if there's not enough space to walk through. So yeah, that's a long story of why my kitchen doesn't have an island, even though I like them in pretty much any house that I build. I'm about to work on this front room here, which I wasn't really sure what would be at first, but I decided to make it a library in the end, and I paused for a really long time. I was very distracted during this build. I only did it like yesterday, or maybe the day before. I can't even remember now. I don't know how many days it's been. What day of the week is it even? I should know this because I have a schedule that I release videos on. Okay, that doesn't matter. I made a library in this house because I felt like this family would have a library. I don't really know who lives here. That's probably why I had such trouble with the house, because I didn't really have a family in mind. I mean, they're probably a young, successful family. They've got 2 children. I made the bedrooms really, really neutral. So you can move in here with whatever kind of children you have, if that's what you want to do. There's no real gender stereotype in these bedrooms. They're pretty much tan. I think there's dinosaurs in one and penguins in the other, which, I mean, I feel like those things are not like gender specific. Anybody can like penguins. Anybody can like dinosaurs. I did. Jurassic Park were like my childhood movies. So, you know, they're neutral rooms. But I did feel like this family, at least the house that I was building, a library seemed to fit in it. What the heck is going on outside my office door? Okay, I'm sorry if you heard that in my mic. It was pretty loud. I don't know what my dogs are doing. Anyway, this library, it seemed like they were wealthy enough to have this sort of front sitting room that had giant bookshelves and a ton of books. Because, you know what, to be honest, and nobody ever thinks about this, hardcover books are really expensive, okay? And if you have a whole collection of hardcover books, that's probably a lot of money sitting there on the bookshelves. Like, I feel like people just do not think about that when they see a bookshelf with hardcover books. I mean, for real, books are expensive. I really, really wanted to get on display a hardcover set of Game of Thrones, the books, and that was like over $100 for those books, which I understand. I mean, they're good books. I love them. I would love a hard copy cover, but I can't afford that right now. Not for display purposes. If I was just gonna read the books, I probably still wouldn't pay that much. No, I would get my books on my Kindle. That's where I read like most of the Game of Thrones books, on my Kindle, because that is so much easier, and and you don't have to carry around a ginormous book. Those books are huge too. I guess that's probably why they're so expensive. I mean, the paper you need to make those books and print them is probably unbelievable for how many books he sold. But someday I will get a hardcover set of the Game of Thrones book, and I will put them on display in my office, and I'll have a cool set of books. I also want to get other sets of books. I want to get the Harry Potter set of books on display. What else? Probably the Hunger Games. I wasn't really that attached to that series though, to be honest. It was a good series. I really liked reading it. But for me, the movies are more prevalent in my mind. They're not better than the books, but they're just... When I think of the Hunger Games, I think of the movies, not the books. And that doesn't happen for most of the books that I've read that have movie adaptations. I mean, sure, I remember what the characters look like in the movies, but when I'm thinking of something that is a book and a movie, I am usually thinking of the book plot and what happens in the book, and specifically I remember like very specific lines of the story that really stood out to me. So yeah, for the Hunger Games, that doesn't happen so much. It's still a good series, but maybe not one that I am like hardcore wishing that I had a display set of. Game of Thrones is definitely the most wanted of the book series, I guess I would call it. And I know I'm rambling like so much right now. It's just this video is so long. I cannot talk about the build for almost half an hour. That's just not gonna happen. I don't have that much to say about the build. I mean, I'm watching the preview. If I think of something that I need to say about the build, I will say it, obviously, but I mean, you can see what I'm doing. I don't think I really need to narrate the build. Maybe explain my choices like I usually do, but I pretty much already explained what I'm doing. Modern family home. There's not much to it. I use the Parenthood stuff pack a lot, like I have been in almost all my builds lately, because the Parenthood stuff is just good, and it just fits. It looks both modern and less, it can look expensive and less expensive. It can look modern, but also more rugged. That's not really the right word, but, you know, more traditional, I guess, is the better word for it. So I think, yeah, that's why I use that Parenthood stuff all the time. All the time. I've been trying to build different houses, too, even though I end up using the same items in them lately, anyway. But I just, I've been wanting to build some different kind of houses, like last week I built a beach house, and this week it's a red brick house, and I don't even remember what the week before was, but I think that one was much different than these two. Wow, I really can't even remember what that build was at all. I built a cafe recently, but that wasn't that week. That wasn't the week before the beach, was it? Oh, I think it was the vampire house. Yeah, the vampire house. That's much different than a beach house or this modern brick house. So I've been going through the styles of houses. I'm trying to expand my horizons a little bit. I was thinking I might try to build a Tudor house soon. I really like those houses. I like the outside of them. And also, Windenburg has these houses, the same kind of Tudor houses. So I think I will build a house in this town that actually fits in the town. This brick house, though, is not that out of place. It looks slightly out of place on the map, but that's just because the brick is a lot lighter than most of the other brick houses in this town. The other houses are more of a brown brick, and this is more of a red brick, which is why I named it Red Brick House. But Overall, though, the shape and the style is not that far off. If you were to change it to a darker brown brick color, I think you could get away with it blending it into this town. But yeah, you probably want to put it somewhere else. I would put it somewhere else if it were me. I'd put it in Newcrest, but there's no houses in Newcrest if you don't have a bunch of other lots that you've downloaded. Maybe that's what people do. Is that what other people do? Oh my god. I just had a realization. Other people don't build entire towns in Newcrest, do they? That's... wow, okay. Yeah, download some other houses and put them in Newcrest. Put ones that match this kind of house. Or, download this if it matches the ones you have already. That's my advice. That's where it's gonna fit best. So yeah. I'm working on the bedrooms now, finally. The bedrooms are all a weird shape. I don't know why I did that. But it felt like they needed to be... well, okay, part of the reason was the windows. That was a huge problem during my build, to be honest, because I couldn't, the windows just made it very hard to have a square bedroom with how I laid the rest of it out. It just wasn't really happening. All the windows are asymmetrical too, with the bedrooms. Not all of them, but most of them. And that bugs me. That bugs me a lot. The bathrooms, though, I made the bathrooms have symmetrical windows. I guess this one, no, it's not, because, see, this is what bugs me. The center of the windows, it's not lined up with, like, the door and that part that comes out. I'm not making any sense. It's just off. It's slightly off, and that bugs me. Like, one of those walls needs to be dragged out just a little bit so that it's symmetrical with the windows and all that. But I think I'm the only person who probably notices and, like, stresses out about those kind of things. So most people should be okay. Besides the asymmetry in this bedroom, I do like the way it turned out. I like the little splashes of yellow. They're just really fun. And I think it makes it more, I don't know. I think the modern style has some of those kind of splashes of color or a pattern. I've just seen that in a lot of modern houses. Mostly it's neutral, but there is a small splash of color or something that draws your eye. There always has to be something that draws your eye. In some houses, it's everything. Everything draws your eye. In other houses, it's just one thing. Like, I would say in my house, for example, the wall color is so neutral, it almost looks white in a lot of the lights. Just in the sunlight, whenever there's light on, it looks very white. It's actually a very light blue, but it's not something that you notice. But then I have like dark purple furniture. I feel like that draws your eye quite a bit, and there's a focal point, So that's my example, I guess. Like, the wall colors are neutral, so the furniture is something that draws your eye, and in this, the wall colors and the furniture is all pretty neutral, except for the things that have that pop of color. So I think it works out, and it looks very nice. I actually really like the master bedroom. I would want that master bedroom. And here are the children's rooms. I did a carpet throughout all of the rooms because they were connected, and I just felt like that made sense. One thing I get kind of frustrated with, though, is making neutral rooms gets kind of tricky because the patterns aren't very great for neutral things. I don't know why it seems that to me. I felt like this blue and reddish bed was sort of neutral. I could imagine a little girl sleeping in this bed, and then this orange and blue comforter bed thing, that seemed very neutral as well. I did try to match everything, like with the sets of items, they go together. I felt like probably this family just went to the furniture store and picked out matching sets of furniture for their new house, because it seems like a newly built house, so you would probably have some new furniture in there as well. Not just your old hand-me-down furniture from your parents when you got your first apartment, something like that. Anyway, yeah, this playroom is super cute. I love it a lot. This little rug, though, oh my gosh, with the elephant and the dinosaur and the bunny, it's so adorable. And yeah, the wallpaper is, I like the wallpaper too. It's kind of bright, but still not that noticeable. It's very neutral too, again. So I really think this house works for almost any family that you have 2 children for. You could possibly fit another bed in, or make that playroom into a 3rd bedroom. Whatever you want to do, it's fine. The kids, of course, get their own bathroom because I just felt like that made sense off the playroom to have that shared bathroom. But besides that, I think I'm almost done with the speed build. I don't know how long this goes on for. I think it's about 27 minutes. My editing program it just gives me a margin of like 2 minutes, so I only can tell how far it is in between like 2-minute range. Yeah, anyway, I think I'm almost done now. So I hope you enjoyed this super long and rambly speed build. I'm sorry I didn't make sense through most of it because I'm very tired. And yeah, this is what you're getting from me. Just this ramble speed build. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to my channel because I post the Sims videos every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. Until then, bye!